Justin Trudeau gives a woman at one of his town halls half the truth and still manages to inadvertently prove that woman and Conservatives right when it comes to pipelines. But I don't think he's swift enough to realize any of it. I want to show you a clip from Trudeau's Regina town hall. You're going to see a lady stand up and ask a question, and then you're going to see Trudeau try to answer. Pay close attention to the question she asked versus the question Trudeau actually answered. Here.
It's so hard to be patient here with all of these lies. Okay. Yes, that is one question. Why are we buying oil from Saudi Arabia, Mr. Trudeau?
Okay. It's interesting that you started with concerns about facts and truth in answers and in our approach. And if we're going to have rigorous debates about what the best way is forward for the country, I think we need to do it around the facts. Now, there is a lot of misinformation out there that talks about, among others, Quebec as being reliant on Saudi oil, and that's a problem for Canada and a big issue. That is false. Quebec actually gets its oil from the United States and from Western Canada. The reversal of the Line 9 pipeline actually means over the past 3 years, Quebec has gotten 3 times as much oil from the oil sands as it ever had before. So the games being played around misinformation for political partisan reasons out there, and I certainly don't blame you, man, because these so-called facts are floating around here, and that's one of the good things about having an opportunity to engage and to ask blunt questions about things that you may have seen or heard on the internet, and I'm happy to tell you that is simply not true. Quebec gets its oil from the United States and from our oil sands.
Did you see that? Trudeau started off by lecturing that lady about facts and truth and making sure she has her facts straight. And then he goes on to answer a question she didn't ask, but instead he answers the one he hoped she had asked him. Let's fact check Trudeau about Quebec oil, shall we? Let's take a look at the National Energy Board's own data. Supply for Quebec's refineries prior to 2013 was a mix of crude oil from Eastern Canada and offshore imports from Europe, the Middle East, and Latin America. After 2013, use of crude oil from Western Canada and the United States began increasing because of higher crude by rail deliveries and changes to pipeline infrastructure. Okay, yes, the Line 9 reversal began operating thanks to Stephen Harper, and it offset large amounts of Middle Eastern oil. But the government still acknowledges Quebec does get oil from the Middle East and Latin America, just far less now than it had before. But let's use a lefty source to get some more numbers about what that oil makeup really looks like in Quebec. Here is the National Observer. They're far left, and they used data from the National Bank of Canada to make this infographic here. In 2012, that's before Stephen Harper reversed Line 9, Quebec refineries got 41% of their feedstock from Algeria, 8% from Canada, another 1% from the United States, and 50% from others. After the Line 9 reversal, the Algerian feedstock shrunk to 11%, others to 8%. Canada has grown to 44%, and the United States is at 37%. Hang on for a second here. If the Liberals hate Trump like they say they do, why are they okay with this huge market share being lost to the Americans, whose oil is sometimes $50 higher per barrel than Alberta's oil? And look, I've got nothing really bad to say about our American friends, but Alberta can certainly make up their 37% of that share with the help of a pipeline or two. Justin Trudeau just made the Conservative case for building out pipeline infrastructure to the eastern parts of the country as a way to offset foreign imports. And I don't think he's bright enough to realize he's just done that here. But the lady didn't even ask about Quebec, did she? She asked, "Why are we buying oil from Saudi Arabia, Mr. Trudeau?" And he never really did answer why Canada, with the world's third largest oil reserves, still buys oil from Saudi Arabia, a place that routinely hangs gay people and stones women to death. Now, according to the National Post, Canada still buys $300 million worth of Saudi crude every single month. Between 2007 and 2017, Statistics Canada figures show that Canada imported a total of $20.9 billion worth of Saudi Arabian petroleum. Now let's look at the National Energy Board data for New Brunswick. And the reason I'm doing that is because the Irving Oil Refinery is Canada's largest, with a capacity of 308,000 barrels per day. You see, we've got a problem here because there are no crude oil pipelines in New Brunswick at all. Not even to the refinery. All of New Brunswick's crude oil supplies arrive by sea or rail, and that's how the refinery ships it back out, by sea or rail. Now let's take a look at the oil imports for Canada's largest refinery. Figure 17 in this National Energy Board data, and it is an utter disgrace. Do you see that dark blue chunk in the middle of the line representing New Brunswick in 2017? That represents Saudi imports. Again, from the data to be exact, New Brunswick has the most diverse crude slate. Diversity, despite what the Liberals say, is not necessarily our strength here or really anywhere. In 2017, Saudi Arabia accounts for almost 40% of New Brunswick's crude oil imports, followed by Azerbaijan, the United Kingdom, the US, and Nigeria. That is what the lady was asking about in that Regina town hall. That's what Trudeau doesn't have a good answer for, except that there is literally no pipeline in New Brunswick at all, and there won't be one in the near future. That's the reason why 40% of the oil going to Canada's largest refinery is from Saudi Arabia and not Alberta. And just like Trudeau rightly pointed out when he answered a question about Quebec, that nobody even asked him. And again, I don't think he's clever enough to realize that he made this point. Pipeline infrastructure from the West will offset that Saudi oil in the exact same way Line 9 helped Quebec get off dictator oil and start using the less blood-soaked kind. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. What you just saw there is the daily video that I do here at The Rebel, but did you know that I have my own weekly full-length show? I talk to interesting lawmakers about things affecting your family in a way you'd never see done in the mainstream media. But to get access to my show and the rest of our incredible premium content, treat yourself to a Rebel subscription today.